Welcome to 100 Yards of Football. If you like the video today, please come and share it. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. Today, we're going to be covering the preseason outlook for the Florida State Seminoles. Joining me to discuss the preseason outlook will be one of the gentlemen that's a Florida State great, Mr. Bobby Butler. First-round draft pick of the Atlanta Falcons in 1981, 25th selection overall, a Florida State great. The second gentleman that will help me to break down Florida State is a gentleman that coached high school football in the Clayton County area at Mount Zion High School, Dutchtown, Lovejoy, and Riverdale, my man, Kevin the Bull Jones. So if you like the video today as we break down the Florida State Seminoles, please come in and share it. We are 100 Yards of Football. So to start us off is what the Seminoles are going to do from an offensive and defensive standpoint, my man, Bobby Butler.
Well, thank you, guys. Hey, first of all, let me just give a shout out to Coach Bobby Bowden. Coach Bowden turned 90 years old this year, and we love him. I had the opportunity to be with him this February at an FCA event here outside of Atlanta, Georgia. Coach has been not feeling too well on and off lately. I just want to just wish him well wishes. Coach Bowden, we love you. We're thinking about you. We're praying for you. And keep hitting that golf ball when you get better. Keep walking that golf course and keep loving Jesus. All will be well. Thank you. Hey, look, man, I'm excited about Florida State University, right? We got a new coach, Coach Mike Norvell from the 901, right? So he's gonna come help us get our program back on track, all right? We need one another in this land. We do need one another, right? The 904, the 407, the 561 need the 901. So we're thankful to have Coach Norvell in Tallahassee because, what he brings to the table, Coach, is great playmaking on his offense. And, the kind of players we have on our offense are playmakers, right? We got coming back. Our number one, I would say he's probably our biggest star on offense is Tamarion Terry. 6'4", 210-pound, a wide receiver, 4'5", 40. He can flat out go get it, right? He can flat out go get it. He's a first-round pick in the draft when he comes out, right? He's got the size, he's got the speed, he's got the hands, and he's got the tenacity to attack the ball. I love him. And then we got my homeboy from Belgrade, Florida, quarterback James Blackman. Now, James has been in there for a couple of years now, and he's getting experience. He's getting experience. He's got a live arm. I think they're going to work with him and get him going. He just got to pick his choices right a little better, which he will do. He's got weapons. But here's the thing in Tallahassee, man. Here's been our Achilles heel the last 2 years. It's been our offensive line play. And it's been like that for a while. I mean, even as good as Cam Akers was at run, Cam Akers was a first-day draft choice. Yeah. But the guy, he didn't have an offensive line his whole career at Florida State. So we got to fix that. We got to fix that. We fixed that because we're always going to have skill position guys, right? Our wide receiver room is good. We also have a wide receiver, DJ Matthews, exceptionally gifted athlete, right? So we're going to be well. We got a transfer in from Texas A&M, guy by the name of Deshaun Corbin, running back. He's a scat back. But I always tell y'all this, and I know how to build a football team. You build a football team with your own defensive line. That's right. And down in Florida, in the South, anywhere, running backs and wide receiver, I'll say this all the time, they are a dime. You can find them anywhere. But what you can't find is 6'5", 6'6", 320 pounds. Right. That can move and that can move people off the line, right? And that can pass protect, got good feet. That's hard to find. And so we got to get better on our offensive line. And I think we'll do that. We got Devontae Love Taylor there. He's going to do a good job for us. But we got to find some help for him, Coach. And I believe Coach Norvell will have them coached up. See, sometimes it's about coaching, right? It's about coaching. You got to coach guys up, right? You got to coach. You got to coach the details, and you got to push them in the back. There's nothing wrong with hard coaching. Matter of fact, kids respond better to hard coaching.
Amen.
They respond better to hard coaching. So I like our chances. We got about 5 stars returning back on offense. I'm not worried about skill positions in Tallahassee. We got to get our offensive line going in unison. building that, developing some players there, and we're going to be okay. On defense, we got basically 9 to 10 returning starters. Defense wasn't so good, partly because we spent so much time on the field. We spent too much time on the field. Our stud player on defense is a young man by the name of Marvin Wilson. He's a D tackle. He's 6'5", he's 310 pounds, and he wears number 23. So don't miss him. He's a first-day draft pick next year, no question. He's the man that make it happen for us. And then on top of that, we got outside linebacker Emmett Rice. He added 20 pounds this offseason. They're working, Coach. One of the things that the players saying in Tallahassee, hey, look, we're really working now. Wow. I mean, we're on a schedule. We're not missing a beat. They expect a lot of us. They're being pushed already. And that's what we don't need college players, Coach. We don't need college players in a pro glide. They're not man enough to pro glide yet. Pro glide means I don't need nobody to push me. I don't need nobody to motivate me. I can do my job and do it well when it's time to go play. College kids are not there yet mentally. So they need to be pushed. And so they have raised the tempo in Tallahassee. I can't wait to see that. We got Janarius Robinson on the edge. We got Corey Durden, another defensive tackle. He stays in the backfield, Coach. Coach, let me tell you who he reminds me of. Ron Simmons.
Woo! That's a big name.
He's always putting guys in the backfield. He's always putting guys on the ground in the backfield, tackling people for losses. I like him. And then we got Amari Gaynor. These guys got a lot of playing time and played well, right? We got Leonard Warren that played exceptionally well on the outside, right? The edge. Well, here's what I like in our secondary. We got a young man named Asante Samuel. That name ring a bell?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. New England.
That's right.
New England.
Atlanta. He did it all, right? He's our best corner. He was our best corner last year. He's all ACC corner, right? He's going to do his job. I love him. Been taught well, been trained well. Somebody's always in his ear the right way. And then we got this guy here, Hamsaw Nazarelli. When I tell you a tackling machine,
yes.
When I tell you mama say knock them out, when he hit you, he will put you to sleep. He one of them. So from the defensive side of the ball, we got a real good chance. These guys are going to be coached up. They're going to play at a different tempo. And my prayer is that our offense give us a little time, on the sidelines, and that they possess the clock a little more, But to do that, Coach, our offensive line got to be strutting.
That's right.
They got to be strutting, right? And so I'm believing Coach Norvell is going to get the job done. We've had an exceptional recruiting class for his first year down there. But like we talked about in Alabama, hey, listen, they didn't get a chance to play spring ball. They're going to be true freshmen coming in, and hardly ever you're going to have true freshmen, unless they're grown men,
that's right,
play without spring practice as a true freshman, right?
That's
so,
right.
But I'm excited about what we have. I'm excited about our future. I think we're gonna do better than a lot of people think. Mm-hmm. And on the upside, I see us winning possibly 8 to 9 games this first year. Remember, I said that. I believe we can win 8 to 9 games this first year. But y'all know me. I'm a Seminole.
That's right.
I believe we can win all of them.
All of them. That's
right. Bruh, we Florida State. I don't care who on the roster. Florida's got a good program. I get a Gators a little due. They got a good program, but we can beat them anytime.
That's right.
Hey, I can't say they can beat us, right?
Right.
I can't say that. Clemson is one of the top 4 teams in the country. Well, let me say it this way. Clemson is one of the top 3 teams in the country.
There you go.
Okay, and they built for playoffs right now.
Right.
We're not quite built for that right now. So that's one of the games I count that we'll lose. But I'm gonna tell you the rest of the schedule, bruh, we can win them all. But first year, Coach Norvell, 9-3 will do well. We'll take that from the 901.
Coach Jones.
Listen, in this crazy thing called recruiting, there is a pecking order. Everybody in the country would love to go and snatch 2 top players from Florida. Let's just put it out there. It is what it is. Florida, the mega center of athletes, especially skilled players. Okay, so with that being said, you look at all of your top 5 teams in the nation in the rankings last year, and you look at how many kids from Florida were on those rosters. Here's where I'm going with this, guys. Florida State, when Coach Taggart was there, and it just is what it is, and Coach Fisher's last year there, the ability to make sure that you get one of the top 3 players at your position out of Florida didn't happen at FSU.
That's right.
No discredit to the athletes that played. Okay, no discredit. Let's not do that. Let's just make sure it's understood that when we talked about the rankings of these kids all over the nation and especially in Florida, you take the top 5 offensive linemen. How many of them? One might go to Miami. One definitely is going to go to Florida.
Right.
And in some cases, one might sneak down to USF,
Right.
Central Florida.
Right.
But of those top 5, one might end up at Alabama.
Right.
One might even end up at Clemson.
Or Georgia.
So out of the top 5, according to those previous rankings, Florida State did not get that top 5. Right. Here's my premise about Florida State football, because to me, 10 starters coming back on defense, 7 on offense is scary. It is scary from a coaching standpoint because you got kids that have weathered the storm and they've got 12 to 13 ball games in this case, 12 games in of playing football. And they did shock some people. They beat Louisville. Okay. They beat NC State. So this whole Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing happened the whole season. A lot of that has a lot to do with attitude and character. You can put the words together, however you want to flip it. It's character. And in the previous staff's first year with those kids and being in charge of them, they can be as athletic as they can be. We can talk X and O's about them all day. But at the end of the day, between the ears, if you're not buying what the coaches are selling, and I'm not saying you got to fear the coaches, but you have to fear letting them down with your performance.
There you go.
And a lot of times, penalties. I watched a lot of games with FSU last year, and there were penalties happen when they were in games, and it was a good battle. Right. And then when it got really tight, they started having some penalties that just shouldn't happen. A lot of that was because a lot of times they might have been getting their butt kicked on a play, or maybe they felt like there should have been a call they should have gotten. But at the end, it's the little things. So what I'm really saying about Florida State is they're going to be scary this fall with a new coaching staff, a new system. They're switching to a 4-3 defense. They were in a 3-4. First of all, from my recollection of being on the defensive side of the ball, it is harder to create the 4-3. The 3-4 defense. It's harder to walk in a new staff and create a 3-4 defense as opposed to having a 4-3 in place and later recruiting for a 3-4.
There you go.
There is a difference. So now cooler, smarter heads have prevailed. They're going to go with a 4-3, allow those big down linemen to get on, put their hands in the ground, come off that edge, which is what Florida State was always known for.
Right.
Yes, they had great linebacker play, but when you look at the defensive linemen in the history of FSU football, brother, you got the cream of the crop. No other way to say it. They take your heads off and ask questions later. And then the secondary play was always outstanding. They still have some players in the secondary. But more importantly, they got 10 starters coming back, B. They got 10. Let me tell you something what 10 means. 10 means when they get in that huddle and they trying to decide which way, okay, coach just gave us the signal. He gave us the play in the huddle. That means you got 10 heads in there that already know,
right.
I've been in this situation before.
Mm-hmm.
I know what to do to be successful.
Absolutely.
Now I'm about to pin my ears back and go do it.
Go do it.
At the end of the day, that is the scary part of Florida State football this fall. I tell you right now, you say 9 wins, I wouldn't be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, I agree with you because they can make that happen with the guys they have. You talked about Hamza, Nazruddin, leading tackler, safety, 100 tackles, also tied for the lead in interceptions, caused fumbles. I mean, he's a wrecking machine. Now, give him a different system where you got 4 down linemen going to get that quarterback. Because let's keep it real. I'm going to tell you right now, for those that are listening, teaching and playing in the 3-4 is very hard defense. That front 7 is very hard. Right. For some people, they feel like it's extremely complicated, which it can be. Mm-hmm. So it takes more than 1 year to get it done. By the time they figured it out this year, they were probably at game 10. And it's a tough defense, but high risk, high reward. But when you go back to the traditional 4-3, and then in passing downs, bring in a nickel and go with a 4 down lineman, 2 linebackers, 5 secondary. Now you allow the athletes to get back on the field and make plays. But at the end of the day, FSU fans, it's between the ears. Mm-hmm. Attitude is everything. Right. Norval's going to come in with a mixture of a pro-style offense and some multiple stuff. Okay, they won a championship in the AAC conference. So, the proof is in the pudding. You all have something exciting to look forward to. And the greatest part about it, there's one thing, and I'm going to leave you with this. It's one thing to come in as the new coach and you don't have any starters coming back and you got a new system put in. Okay? But when you come in as the new coach and you got 17 starters coming back, right? Somebody's feelings going to get hurt in the fall. Mm-hmm. Won't be FSU. I expect them to have a great season. 9-3, I'm with you, B.
All right, man, let's go. I'm ready.
I'm gonna say this. Florida State has had some real tough times here lately. I kind of feel for the situation with Willie Taggart, but let's be honest, Willie Taggart didn't have hold on the program.
No.
And when you have that, and you're looking at a program of Florida State that's had history in winning and royalty, you know about that, Brother Butler, because you started it in the late 70s. Then Florida State is about winning, and they're not going to be willing to have too many down years. Now, this is the scenario. You're talking about a perfect coach. They come into a perfect scenario, like Coach Jones said. Mike Norvell is going to turn things around in Florida State. All I have to say is this. He coached at the 901, love to my hometown today, Memphis, Tennessee. But all I have to say, offense. When Norvell was there for 4 years, 38 points a game, 45 points a game, 42 points a game, 40 points a game in his 4 years. Wow. Then think about this. He had 3 players that was drafted in the NFL draft that are very explosive. Have you heard of Anthony Miller, who's with the Chicago Bears? Have you heard of Tony Pollard, who's backing up Ezekiel Elliott with Dallas? Mm-hmm. And Coach Jones, you should know about this young man because he played at Eagles Landing. Antonio Gibson, who got drafted by the Washington Redskins. Right. You look at what he did with little of nothing. Yeah. Now you put him in the great state of Florida. Right. And all the places that he should have never ended up at, Florida State with all those athletes, and he got one right now, Mr. Terry, who we all know about, probably the best wide receiver in the country. But to me, the key to Florida State is the quarterback, James Blackman. Mm-hmm. Last year, he threw for a lot of touchdowns, but under Willie Taggart, let's tell it like it is. He had problems turning the football over, 23 interceptions. Mm-hmm. I guarantee you, under Coach Mike Norvell, that's going to change. Right. And Florida State, as we say, is going to be something lethal on offense this upcoming year. Not the years coming up. I'm talking about this year. They don't go back to the offenses of Peter Warwick, Chris Winkie, Jameis Winston, Devontae Freeman. I'm talking about at that level. And if they get a little play from their defense, and you mentioned, Coach Jones, the linebacker position. Emmett Rice, and my man, Mr. Leonard Warren. I got to beat them dogs that Derrick Brooks, Marvin Jones were back in the day. Reggie Herring under you, Coach, under you, Bobby.
Right.
Then Florida State is going to be something serious. And they secondary. What I can't understand, they finished 119 in the country last year and got all their talent.
Right.
Asante Samuel. That's coaching to me now.
That's coaching.
And they got a guy that's waiting in the wings who didn't play last year. Remember this name. And Brother Butler, you should know who I'm talking about. People are saying he's Jalen Ramsey and Dion in one body. Travis J.
Yep.
Remember that name. We haven't talked about him. And I know, Coach Jones, you love Alabama. I know Clemson love their DBs. But this young man, Travis J., is a star in the making. He was redshirted last year.
Right. That's right. That's
so
right.
that being said, as we all know, Clemson, North Carolina, y'all better be on notice. And I'm going to leave you with this. You are ruling the way I move. And I breathe your air. Rescue me. This is my prayer. White Hotel and the Florida State Seminoles are finna roll through the ACC by the great lyrics of my girl, Sade.
Hey.
We like to say, thank you for watching the video today. We are 100 yards from football.
Let's do it.
ACC, y'all made a serious mistake because now Florida State is going to be back. God bless and enjoy the weekend. We are 100 yards of football.